Hello, good evening everyone. I hope you are doing well, having watched many of my videos and subscribed to my channel, right? Well, let's continue studying our English grammar. And remember, the last video I recorded, if you haven't seen it, we studied the verb combination could have, right? Could have done something or could do something. We saw many combinations of these verb tenses, and now we'll check more examples, right? And to learn better in which context we use what. All right, so let's get started. Well, you know, sometimes it happens, I guess it happens to everyone, that you keep wondering, oh my God, this could have happened, but it didn't happen. So it's this expression I'm going to write. Could have happened. When you say that something could have happened, it means that this action or this event didn't happen for some reason, right? For example, I went to LA and stayed at 3-star hotel. Right? So I traveled, I went to LA and I stayed at a 3-star hotel. What could have happened that didn't happen? Well, I could have stayed at a resort, right? If I spent more money, I could have stayed at a resort. It was possible to happen, to stay at a resort. It's a possibility. When you say, for example, I went to LA, I planned, for example, to visit, let's see one example. I planned to visit Disneyland, but I didn't visit. As a matter of fact, I did, right? But let's suppose that in my trip, during my trip to LA, I didn't visit Disneyland. As a matter of fact, Disneyland isn't in LA, it's in Anaheim, right? But it's in the surroundings. I guess it's in Los Angeles County. I don't know. I'm not from there, but let's suppose that it's close. I could have gone to Disneyland, so I could have visited Disneyland. So this verb tense, could have, and the main verb in the past participle are used to express events or activities that you intended to do. This action could have happened, but for some reason didn't happen. Okay? I fell from my bike, right? I was riding a bike and I had an accident. I fell from my bike. Luckily, I didn't get hurt. So, yes, I didn't get hurt. No, nothing happened to me, but I could have gotten hurt. Could have and gotten which is the verb get in the past participle. Get, got, gotten. Okay? So that's it. It's possible, it's a possibility, but it didn't happen. It may be anything, right? Any possibility that we have given examples around here. It's not difficult, isn't it? Okay, let's now use the verb could to express another idea. You can use could in the negative when you want to say that something is not possible right now, right? And she couldn't live in the country, right? Actually, she can't stand the countryside, right? She likes big cities, right? She likes to go to the movies, to have options of entertainment, so she couldn't live in the country. What does it mean? It means that it's not possible for her to live in the country. Let me give an example of my own. I couldn't live in my hometown anymore. Another example, I couldn't live with my parents anymore, right? So what does it mean? It means that it was something that it was possible to happen, but now not any longer, right? I have been living here in Rio for 12 years. I guess it's almost impossible to me to conceive the idea of me living with my parents, for example, or being close to family. As a matter of fact, I couldn't live with somebody else. Yeah, right. I'd rather live alone, okay? It's an option. So you see, it's something that would not be possible for you or for another person, right? You can use the verb couldn't in the negative, right? Negative form. And it's important to emphasize couldn't here and couldn't in this context doesn't mean that it's an action in the past. No, in this case, no, it's not an action in the past. It means that you wouldn't be able, it wouldn't be possible for you to live in the country, to live in your hometown, right? To live with your parents, okay? But the situation before this that we have studied expresses an idea in the past, but the main thing here is to express something that could have happened. It was a possible action, right? I could have gotten hurt. I fell from my bike and I wasn't hurt, luckily. Or I went to visit some place and I didn't visit that place, but I could have visited. So it expresses possibilities of things that may have happened in the past. Well, when we use in the past tense, the past tense within the context of the verb could, okay? You use couldn't have, right? For example, when something that is not possible for you to do is an action in the past, you use couldn't have. Okay? It's an action in the past. I had a wonderful holiday there. Right? I traveled, I had a wonderful holiday there. it couldn't have been better. Okay, so it expresses an idea in the past. Because the trip it happened in the past. If you draw the timeline here, you have here present. This action took place in the past, and you are talking about it, right? It was great. I had a wonderful time, so it couldn't have been any better than that. Let me give another example. I couldn't have stayed at a resort during my trip. I couldn't have stayed at a resort during my trip. Why? Because it was way too expensive. It was way over my budget. I didn't have money to stay at a resort. So in order to save some money to visit more tourist attractions, for example, I stayed at a 3-star hotel. I couldn't have stayed at a resort. So it wasn't possible for me, but it was in the past. Let's compare with a situation that takes place in the present. I couldn't travel to Europe. You are talking now about the situation. I couldn't travel to Europe because it's not possible to me to travel to Europe, right? Even if I wanted. First of all, we have a COVID-19 infection, right? Pandemic. And I don't like Europe. I don't like. Just it's not that I don't like Europe. I love Europe culture, but watching videos from the internet about it, but it doesn't appeal to me the idea of traveling to Europe. Okay, if I want to travel somewhere abroad, I think it would be better for me to travel to the US because I'm in love with the US. But Europe is not an option for me right now, right? So this expresses an idea now. It's an option, but you are not considering this option right now. Due to many reasons, either for something that depends on you or your opinion about it, but here the example is different. I use could have and the verb in the past participle because I couldn't have stayed at a resort. This took place. This decision of not staying at a resort took place when you went on a trip, right? It was an action that took place in the past. Okay? So that's it for this video. Let's record the next one about something else, okay? Bye bye.